Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. I'm excited that you chose to hang out with me yet again here on Wisdom on Wednesday, and I'm your host, Ray. I'm super excited that you've been consistently hanging out with me as we try to share our thoughts, as we try to encourage, as we try to motivate, as we try to sometimes challenge with the particular topics that we discuss on a weekly basis. From the depths of my heart, I appreciate you for rocking with me for this long. Please continue to subscribe. Please continue to share, continue to comment, allow the algorithm to continue to grow. The more you talk in the comment section, the farther we can go. So do me a solid and just say something in the comments, share it, whatever it may be. We need some interaction in that comment section. And as per usual, I like to make certain that if I'm going to speak about something that's going to help someone, namely me, I want to ask God for his influence to make certain that I'm giving from a good place and not from a hurt place. So, which leads us from today, wise people. I want you to think about this topic, and I want you to really focus on the words that I'm saying today. Wise people. The things that we feed are the things that are growing. Wise people. Those things that we feed are those things that will grow. I'm being mentored by a phenomenal preacher, a man who has been helping people for a very long time, and a man who has foresight to be able to see things before they come. And just through some of our conversations and the things that he mentions to me about pastoring a church and spending time with people and loving people where they are, he often talks about his garden. And he talks about the evidence of the faith that he had to put a seed in the ground. It's very difficult at times to actually remember the process of fruit, of vegetable. We often see the end result of a thing. We see the end result of a fat watermelon that's pushed itself into the soil. We see the evidence of a tomato that was properly fertilized and watered, and it's all ripe and it looks great. We see cucumbers, but we often forget that those things didn't just pop out of the ground. They didn't just extend themselves on the vine. There was a process of putting something in a hole, having enough faith to water it, having enough faith to make certain that you protect it from the elements. And ultimately, with all of those processes coming together, fruit was produced. Now, obviously, vegetables and fruit and things are positive results, but anything that we plant and we water will grow. Time and time again, there's some things that we planted seeds in our own mind that continues to grow. Far too often, we have these spaces and places in our minds where we go to this isolated, insecure place, and versus taking the water off, versus taking the fertilizer off, we feed those seeds of insecurity. We look into mirrors and we look into photographs from years ago, or we look into photographs that were recent. And we look for the most negative thing first. We look for the bad parts. We look for the things that don't look appealing to other people. We point out those things that are difficult to digest, but we rarely look at those things and say, look at what the Lord has done. I want to challenge you today that when you look into a photo, when you look into a picture, when you look at the evidence of things that were done without your hand, find the good part there. Only the things that we water, the things that we feed will grow. If you have a hint of insecurity and you continue to talk about the things that aren't going well in your appearance, that aren't going well in your delivery, I don't speak well, I don't pray well in front of people, you're the only one that can change that. Versus saying something defeatist and continue to feed the narrative, what you can do is practice speaking in front of people. What you can do is practice having conversations. You can practice reading out loud. What happens is now you are showing yourself who's actually in charge versus telling yourself, I agree with the insecurities. I agree with what I can't do. I agree that I'm not good at this. Who says? Who told you you weren't good at that? Who told you you were a poor speaker in front of people? Who told you just because you're nervous, that means that you can't push through? Everything that you feed will grow. If you want to be a prominent speaker, practice speaking. If you want to be someone who can hold the attention of people, start talking to more people. If you want to be able to read fluently in front of people, you've got to read daily out loud. All things are attainable if we believe. But if we continue to feed the seeds of doubt, doubt will permeate in our lives. Doubt will be dominant. But if we look into the mirror and we see things that we don't like, if we look into the mirror and we say, 10, 15, 20 years ago, I had pecs. 10, 15, 20 years ago, I had a six pack. Now I got a keg. You don't have to look at that picture and say, this is who I am, and I'm just going to be sad about it and wear looser shirts. If you have a desire to change that, you can change it. If you have a desire to make that look differently, you have the power to do that. You see what just happened? I want to pause there and check on you. I challenge you to do something difficult and you immediately said, I can't, in your subconscious. But what I want you to do is to stop counting yourself out before you even try. Stop counting yourself out because you think it's going to be difficult. Stop counting yourself out because you've become accustomed to being a loser in your own eyes. You see, if you have a seed of doubt, if you have a seed in your mind that you're not enough, if you have a seed in your mind that people aren't pleased with your life and you agree with them, you agree with yourself. In actuality, what you're doing is you're watering that seed. You're putting fertilizer on that seed. And now you are perpetuating the situation and it continues to grow because we're feeding it. It's not just insecurity that keeps us down, friends. Every now and then we look at our credit report. Every now and then we look at the failures of our past and it puts a rainy day on our future. We look at things that didn't go well 10, 15, 20 years ago. And now we have diagnosed ourselves of saying that we can't be financially secure because of the things we did in our past. I say, nay. Take an opportunity to read that report card of things you did wrong. Now you know what not to do. And now you can apply the things that you learned through failure to a positive financial future. You see, the world won't show you and tell you that in order to be successful, you've got to embrace failure. Because if you never embrace failure, what will happen is that you'll always feel like you got to hit a home run. But I learned a long time ago when I played Little League Baseball that the best place that you can be on the baseball field when you're batting is to get on base. But if every time you're trying to swing, you're trying to hit a home run, you're going to strike out. But if your goal and your ambition is, I'm going to take one step at a time, I'm going to take one base at a time, it will be great to hit a home run and all four bases are complete. But what would my life look like if I got on first base and I had time to actually smell the roses, as they say? I accomplished something. I got on first base and I can calculate a plan on how I got to first base. And now I can try to get to second base and so on and so forth. But if I continue to swing big and miss, now I'm feeding self-doubt because I saw somewhere, I heard someone say that to be successful, I have to do it on the first try. Nay, the best way to win is to reorganize your failures. The best way to succeed is to look at the things you didn't do well. The best way to get ahead is to look at the things that kept you down. Now, when you evaluate those things, you can recognize the season that you were in when you failed. When you evaluate those things, you take full responsibility of the part you played in that particular role, and now you can't play the victim. Now you can take full responsibility because watch this, wise friend. If you take full responsibility, now it's up to you. It's not anybody else's responsibility for you to be financially sound. It's no one else's responsibility for you to be in a space where you want your credit score to be 780. It's no one else's responsibility because you got that repo. This isn't the time for you to hang your head and say, I had too much going on and they came and took it. Now my credit bad. Praise God that you are still progressing going forward. And you can look back to see the areas that negatively affected your credit. And now you've learned to never do those things again. You see, what you feed will grow. If you continue to focus on insecurities, that seed will grow. If you continue to focus on failures, that seed will grow. But if you take those failures and you put it in the pot for your plan for your future, what can happen is that you'll know the recipe for success. And ultimately, there's nothing wrong, wise friends, with being confident. You see, there's a difference between confidence and cocky. You see, cocky says, I don't need anybody because I have it all. Confidence says, I have the tools and I don't mind asking somebody for help. I think I'll say that again. Cocky says, I can do it all by myself and I'm ashamed to ask anybody so I can get all the credit. But confidence says, I know that I'm equipped, but I'm wise enough to ask for help when I need it. So I can be confident in my abilities, but I can also be wise enough to recognize I don't have everything to be successful. I need some people. I need some people to share with me. I need some people to tell me the areas that went wrong in their lives so I don't have to mimic their mistakes. There are some experiences in life that we have to go through. We won't be who God wants us to be unless we've experienced being at the bottom of the barrel. If that's you right now, say, I'm living right there. If you're living at the bottom of the barrel, I've got good news for you. There's nowhere else to go but up from here. Don't be sad because you're at the bottom. Be excited because you're at the lowest place you can possibly be. Now all you can do is go up. Trusting and depending that I got the plan on how to fail. I know how to do that. Now I need help. I need counsel. I need mentorship to help me grow to a place where I can continue to be successful. I want to water the seeds in my life of faith. I want to continue to trust those things that I can't see, those things that I'm hoping for. I want to be able to be in a space and a place where I can depend on the Father and not the things that failed in my past. You see, only those seeds that you water will grow. The things that you feed will grow. Is your faith starving? Are you feeding your faith? Are you feeding your business plan? There's a difference between having a business plan and a business daydream. You see, a business plan requires us to write down plans. You see the blessing about writing down your plans? Many people here write down your plans and we all get immediately irritated because that takes work. That takes confidence. That takes vulnerability. But I want to share something with you that happens. When you have the confidence to write a plan out, what you're basically doing is saying, God, I give you the pen to edit the plans I put down on paper. And when you come back to that plan, the Lord will season your heart and he will season your mind and show you the steps of how you edit what you thought you wanted. God is so good that he will help you see the things that you can't see, even when you thought that this is what you wanted. But when you write it down, that means you're serious. When you pray over it, that means that I know that I can do this, but I need the help of the Father. From this point forward, now I'm in a space to where I'm not cocky. I'm confident, not in my abilities, but I'm confident in my help. Because now I'm in a season to where I realize that I can do this, but I can't do it alone. What you feed will grow. If you're in a space where you want friends, but you're not friendly, the Bible reminds us if you want friends, you got to show yourself friendly. You can't say that I want a husband, but don't want to do things that a wife is going to do. Why would you wait until you get a husband and start acting like a wife? You understand? If you're already behaving like a wife, that's attractive to a potential husband. The blessing about what God is saying to us today is what you feed will grow. The areas in your life where you feel like you're dry, the areas in your life where you feel like you're dried out, the areas that seem like nothing is happening positive for you, maybe those are the areas that have not been fed. Maybe those are the areas that have not been watered. Maybe those are the dreams that you left destined, desolate. You haven't looked at them in a while. You haven't paid attention to them in a while, but now they're just stagnant, waiting on you. You have full control. You can do it. But my ask for you today, what is it that you're feeding in your life that constantly grows? Are you feeding your anxiety? Are you feeding your fear? Are you feeding the pain that traumatized you as a child? Are you continuing to pour water and fertilizer on these things that's holding you back? Well, there's some things in your garden that you got to let die. There are some things that's growing up like weeds around your positivity that you got to let those things get ate up and dry up. Because you can't feed the weeds just like your good soil. In your good soil, you have your fruit and you've got your vegetables. But you've got to do some pruning. You got to do some weed eating because those weeds have you deterred from the things you should be focused on. So my ask for you today is to feed the thing in your life that you want to grow. Fertilize the thing that you want to grow in your life. Those things that you want cultivated, pay attention to them, pray over them, lay hands on those things, because those are the things that are important to you. Don't let those things lay dormant and the things that you don't want grow like wildfires. I pray that this was a word that encouraged you today. I pray you get some fertilizer in your faith, that you can go to the space that I'm going to feed the areas in my life that I want to grow. This is Ray with Wisdom on Wednesday. God loves you more than you can ever understand. Have a great day and a blessed week.